Yeah, so we were just talking about listening, right? And how listening is kind of a first step to behavioral change stairway. The question is really, what are you listening for? And this is much harder than a lot of people realize, because we all running sort of an internal dialogue, like, you know, what is this person in front of me means, like how it's going to go, how am I being perceived, what is the ideal outcome here, where is the leading. And this is just like a surface level of talking, and the same thing's happening on the other side. So yeah, so how many people actually in dialogue? um, at least 4, if not more. And this is basically coming back to cognitive load, or, you know, in simple ways, mental real estate.
Yeah.
So how much mental real estate do you have available during negotiation, during any conversation, for listening? If you're overwhelmed, uncertain, you know, in doubt, confused, it's going to come out through the thought patterns too. So staying neutral in negotiation is extremely important. Even if you have your outcome set, and you think that, you know, the conversation or negotiation is not going like 100% how you expect it to go, you have to become disattached to the outcome. Because in essence, and we discussed it a lot in mocks, like the more you want something, the more vulnerable you are.
Yeah, it's like commission breath.
Yeah, that, you know, sales is a conversation. It's just specific conversations, right? Sales conversation. But yeah, commission breath or neediness or attachment to outcomes literally destroying relationships, destroying deals, it's destroying the negotiations. So then it becomes literally, this neediness becomes one of your drivers, and it becomes an obvious driver too. And, you know, the more obvious you make it to be, the more vulnerable you become. The more vulnerable you become, the less people are going to listen to you, and it's just going downhill very quickly.
Or want to help you.
So what is it you're listening out for? Like,
well, I'll tell you what most people are listening for. They're listening to respond. They're listening to be heard. Yeah, once in a while I'll tune into that Clubhouse app, and one of the most fascinating things is seeing the moderator interacting with his fans, or, you know, the people, and sometimes it's their customers. And there's one that I know that's the guy's customer, and this person, this lady, when she's listening to this marketing guru dispose his wisdom and knowledge, she'll be like, I have a question. But I have a question. And it gets to the point where the guy is like, you know what? I want to hear from someone else, or like, all right, hold on. You know, I wasn't even finished with that. And, you know, I'm sorry, I'm going to have to mute you. Not even, I was going to have to mute you. And, you know, it's bad when someone says that, like, I got to mute you. Like, dang, that's it's bad. We're in a bad place when, because you can't mute someone in real life. Maybe you hang up. That just goes to show, even if you're paying the person, they're your whatever, yeah, you might want to do some more listening. Just because you're their paying customer doesn't mean you get free range to jump in and give your thoughts and opinions. People are just so eager to get their thoughts and opinions in, instead of extracting info, data out of the person. I mean,
yeah.
I mean, I'll tell you my worst listening experience. Where I've been kind of told I'm not listening. It was a one of those agents that are top, and was just like, blah blah blah. I need to get my client in there to look at this. I'm like, it's tenant occupied. Like, you got to give notice. I need to get him in there. He wants to see one of the units. I'm like, look, we got a system here. And she's like, you're not listening. I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna pass you over to the guy above me. Yeah, like I threw in the towel. I'm like, hey, and this is like not even long ago, man. This is like 4 months ago, 3 months ago. And that's when it made me really think. I was like, that's good feedback. I'm not listening, but I'm a negotiator. I'm a listener. And so I really had to dig in that situation. Am I really not listening to people? And the more I look back and the more I reflect and spoken with others, is it wasn't that I was not listening. It was that I wasn't taking the order. And there's people out there that are very entitled and successful too, because they get their way. And so when she talked to someone that wasn't giving her way, like that really ego bruised her, right? Like it bruised her ego, and told my boss that I'm the worst agent she's ever talked to. And which I was like, that's fine. I told him, like, do we really want to entertain a offer from an agent like this? Like, they're foul already. Like, what are you they're just gonna push us more. Like, I'm not dealing with that. What turns out that she submitted a very low offer. It was a waste of time. I went out there, it was a waste of time. And I had that sense, right? But I was like doubting myself, like, no, maybe she's right. Maybe I'm a terrible listener. Oh, man. If I were to go back, I would have reflected more. I would have done summaries, paraphrase. But man, when you're in it, you got those butterflies going, like you might get in your own way. That's another big change I've done is if I know it's going to be a stressful one, just tap.
Yeah, I mean, it's a beautiful example of mental real estate. If someone is just pushing something on you, your mental real estate gets clouded. It's getting occupied by this dynamic of, force, aggression, anger, fear, and it's hard to keep it open. It's hard to kind of not get stuck, not get into the weeds of this, not react but respond. Coming back to triggers, right?
Yeah.
And it's not easy. You gotta have to learn how to dismantle those triggers, because how you do one thing, you do everything pretty much. So those triggers are somewhere deep inside of you. They're getting triggered maybe in different situations depending on the intensity and severity, but nevertheless those triggers are still there. And this is what I think really kind of underappreciated topic. I mean, the negotiation community and in general, how do you dismantle those triggers? So by dismantling those triggers, you're actually able to listen more, not to being swayed by the emotional dynamic, not being swayed by their demands or their aggression or they forced, but rather, like Bruce Lee used to say, be like water, right? How do you be more like water? How do you not get stuck or not get tripped by your own triggers, by your own internal mechanisms that are stopping you from bringing your best self forward? And we talked about quite a bit about tapping, or EFT, which stands for emotional freedom technique, which is working with your nervous system, really. And you would imagine that your nervous system, and what is it really? It's the thing that connects your body and mind. So when you get triggered, that's a physiological response. It's some sort of a threat, perceivable threat on maybe on psychological level, maybe on even the physical level, but it's still a threat. So amygdala is hijacked, and that's it. Rational, logical part of the brain is just shut off, and you're preparing to fight. So what we do really is we have to prepare for negotiation first and foremost. And if you realize that, okay, I've been triggered, what's happening here, and you start the sort of a internal negotiation, trying to understand where are you coming from, where is it coming from, why am I feeling this way right now? One of the better tools you could use without any learning additional technique is just write it down on the paper. Journaling is incredibly useful tool, especially if you are there for a long run and always honing your communication skills, whether it's negotiation, sales, or any other form of communications, really public speaking. Gotta find out the pattern, because the pattern is within you. It's not out there. It's something out there pushing a button on you, and you blow up and with this kind of response. So once you become aware, you listen to yourself long enough to become aware, now you can take action. Now you can actually dismantle your triggers. You can have a better negotiation with yourself so that you can bring your best self forward and listen to your maximum capacity. And then, of course, listening, empathy, rapport, right? So another way of saying it could be gratitude. So being thankful for having the conversation, and thankful for the person that actually spilling the guts in front of you. Gratitude. Compassion, part of empathy too. Like, oh man, I can see, like, especially if there is a very negative kind of a dynamic on the other side. Maybe they sad, they angry, they frustrated, the pride has been hurt. So first of all, you greet it with gratitude. Then you evoke compassion, saying, well, I can see that I see you're frustrated by this. Yeah, it seems like you're dealing with idiots on a daily basis, especially if someone is very angry, right? And then
Yeah, I wish I would have known.
validation, compassion, validation.
Wish I would have known this. Man, I first got in real estate. You know what? I'll put his name on blast. Sandash Bilgi, if you're listening to this, man, you cost me a lot of money. Cost me a lot of money. And that day I sat with you in a Chinese restaurant, you thought I was being nice. I was hoping they poisoned your food. What did this man do to you, Dan? Sandash is a very respected guy. He was their coach for real estate agents. And our first 3 deals, we had to cut a big piece out for him because he is going to coach us to success, man. But he didn't tell us this day he made all his money when the market was in the top and it was easy. Any agent could make money. And he happened to jump ship into this role, right? Where now it's a tougher market. Now you got to go out there and try and get business. And I remember I was door knocking my area, knocking on people's doors, and had some really good conversations with some homeowners. Got some names, emails, time frames, what they're looking to do, right? And I was listening only for, a deal. Is there a deal here? And is it within 5 years? I'll still be in the business, right? I get to one door and the wife is talking to me and having a good nail. So the husband comes from the back, dressed up like they're going somewhere, and he's like, "Yeah, quit talking to him." And just like, and he closes.
Yeah, man, it looks like it's not a day for us today.
Well,
yeah.
Well, that's all right. Well, let me tell you, I got so ego bruised when that door got slammed in my face. It was something different than being hung up on, right? Like, okay, I should have brushed it off. I got the bright idea. I'm like, I'm gonna call my sales coach. He's gonna tell me something motivating. He's gonna tell me for every no for every 20 no's I get, there's gonna be 1 yes. I call him. You know what he tells me? He says, "Dan, are you knocking on doors? How would you like if you're having dinner and somebody knocks on your door to sell you real estate, something?" And I'm like, "Yeah, no, it's fair enough. That's a good point. Yeah, what am I doing?" And I think I stopped all prospecting just about, and I would just do sphere of influence and whatever leads the company gave me. But I went from this aggressive go-getter to like, oh, I'm bothering people. I'm annoying them. I'm an annoying salesman. Even my coach told me so, right? Man, I,
Yeah.
I wish I would have known FBI methodologies, and I would not have listened to him. I would have told him straight up, hey, look, you know what? You were in sales at the right time, at the right place. Now you're in this different role. I think you should be a sales agent before you're advising. Backbone. I mean, like the stuff that's on all this stuff, it's FBI methodology. It's real. It's now when somebody comes at you with accusations, what do you do with it? Turn into an accusation audit. Agree. What you said, validate. Like that stuff is so potent. And now it's like almost, now I'm at the point where I got this camera. I'm going to start recording my interactions, because the ones that start off the worst tend to be the best ones. It's like, yeah, you know what? You should have that wall up.
Yeah.
All these slimy salespeople are trying to climb up the wall. Yeah, good for you, man. You got some machine guns up there? I used to work on machine guns. Oh, what? You used to work? Yeah, I got a marketing degree, but I just happen to have a license. But yeah, these salespeople are the worst, man. How many times I call you today? It's just it's just so much more fun to validate, give an accusation on it, and banter and get a laugh out of them. Next thing you know, they're asking you, can you sell my house? Can you help me find a place? Can you help this person? I even had somebody comment, Dan, great personality. Frankly, I don't like people commenting on public about me. It's like, keep it to yourself. Like, what are you leaving me a review for in comments? Like, I don't know. It's becoming kind of a problem. It's becoming a snitch society. People are just happy to go on the internet. And so, yeah, that's when I think right now listening should be a higher priority for most people. Because, boy, if you read some of the reviews for the management company I work at, any management company, it's, people want to be heard. And I'm like, if the manager would have had a conversation with this tenant, it would have never gotten to the web. And hearing a lot of these property managers, it's very combative with their tenants. The whole combative, you've seen it in mocks. When they start getting combative, one-upmanship, it never goes good. Never.
It's coming from a bad place. If you're coming from a bad place and you keep pushing the bad place forward, the thing is, it's not rational. It's not a response. It's a reaction. Most of the time, it's just reactive.
That's the thing. A lot of people are, they label reactivity as strategy. That's my strategy, though.
Yeah, well, that's because they don't know any better.
That's how I get
because
stuff,
the experience of actually, because the thing about the empathy, really, not too many people experienced empathy-based communications. Not too many people experience what true collaboration is, even in the brief moments of mock negotiations. Once you realize you can get to the same outcome without stressing your ass over, without fighting, actually using the energy that's in front of you to drive interaction, dismantle it and drive all this passion. There's anger. So there's passion for, to move, to change, to do something. Use this passion, redirect it towards collaboration. Now it's directed towards you, move it around. See if you can shift it up. Then it becomes an empathy-based communication. It becomes collaboration. And not so many people actually experience that. I mean, how? Where are you going to experience it in your day-to-day interactions? How?
I experienced it with my mom. That's about it, right? Your mom, maybe the only one that gives you some empathy. Other than that, I experienced it in a mock, in 2 mocks. The most recent was with Costas. Man, I was insulting the guy. Nothing, deflected. He found like cameras, and then he connected the camera to me hating my job. It's like, this place should just burn down. I hate this place. I hate working here. And he goes, well, if it burns down, I just hope your camcorder doesn't burn. And I was like, man, this guy knows me. He knows this camcorder is the most valuable thing in this building. It's not all this stuff around here. It's just camcorder. And I was like, what can I do for you? Like, what do you want, an upgrade? You want a channel? Like, what do you want? I'm the house. I got you.
Yeah.
Whereas if you're going to talk
Well, there you
about,
go. He listened.
Oh, he
He
did.
picked up on things. Yeah.
yeah, I felt good. Patricia,
Yeah,
she's done
and
that too. Sheldon, this recent one was pretty good.
Yeah, Shodan is, Shodan is having tremendous success, I'd say, over the past 3-4 months, maybe
Lauren,
even longer. But there was certainly shifts and yeah. So I mean, literally, this will be practicing. We're not, it's not only about negotiations, but it's process. It is a process. You listen, you acknowledge, you validate, you empathize, and then you move slowly towards the ask. Or the best way is they ask you.
yeah,
That's when they're becoming curious about you. They starting to think less about them and their problem and start thinking about you and what you can do for them. So that's an opening in itself.
tell you the main
And
thing.
majority of people are going for the ask too early.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
No, yeah, no, going for the ask.
Majority of people going for the ask too early without even having permission to ask. And
All right. Left off at people are going for their ask too soon without even asking for permission to ask.
yeah, they didn't deserve permission to push ahead. You could ask for it, but counterpart can say, yeah, okay, I'm ready to listen to you, or like, yeah, okay, should, but they're not. They're just saying it because you're forcing. It's like almost like a forced sort of empathy or forced opening for your ideas, but it's all about implementation, right? Yes is nothing without how, again. And you have to deserve that how first. You have to open up the space for collaboration, and that comes with listening and empathy. I mean, there is no way around it. If you don't have those two pieces in place, it's just not going to work. So there is a process.
They're now. We have seen somebody do it without the listening and empathy. Actually, two that I consider like pretty effective communicators. One, we're like, wow, this guy did it without that lubricant of listening and empathy, and still got what he needed. And the other one realized that it was tougher than it should have been if he would have done the listening and empathy part. The one that bothered me the most was the one that is confident that you don't need to do the listening or empathy. As a matter of fact, he can't even if he tried, he couldn't because of some gene mutation or something. And right, so then I'm like, I don't know. Like, I think listening, if you got ears, should be capable of it, and a brain. Like, I mean, if you can get into a Zoom, you're able to listen to instructions. If you're able to do a Facebook, you listen to instructions. But then seeing that person come on the second time, and frankly, I was ready to learn how to do it without those two. Because in all fairness, It seems a lot faster and maybe easier. And watching the guy just fail on the second attempt, and then watching others effortlessly succeed that do the listening and empathy, it's like, it's a no-brainer. I would rather do the listening and empathy instead of spending all the time and going straight to the ask and attempt influence through some kind of manipulation, NLP, whatever you want to call it, and get the behavioral change. It's doable, but how much energy is that going to consume? That's a lot of energy expounded. I would get worn out. I get less worn out listening, paraphrasing and summarizing. It feels a lot less energy and more fun. I won't get burned out in sales if it doesn't feel like sales. I think sales is,
Yeah.
I don't want to say it's dying. I mean, but do you need order takers anymore? No, even at McDonald's, you go in there and you can order from the screen. You can order on your phone and they bring it out. You don't need to go to the counter anymore. And so if you're in sales to take orders,
an interesting point.
If you're in sales to take orders, you might get replaced by automation, cheaper, faster. People don't want to deal with people. But if it's something complex, sales, transaction, you know what? You better have good listening skills, or else you're gonna get burned out trying to be like, oh, did I get that person convinced enough to sign that paperwork? Oh my God, I hope they sign. Hope is not a strategy if you're in sales. That was kind of mine, be frank. Man, I hope I get some deals this year. Oh man, this year I hope I get 8 sales. No hope.
Well, to me, it seems sales are dying in a way that it just no longer works the way it used to work 20, 30 years ago. I mean, we live in an information age. No one cares about your pitch. No one cares about your features and benefits. All they care about is what those features and benefits can do for them. And to know what it can do for them, you got to listen. I mean, there's no other way. You got to understand what kind of language they're using, what are the driving factors here, what are the driving behaviors there, what's the tangible outcome they want to get out of this deal, what's the emotional outcome they want to get from this deal, what is the leads, right? And this is coming from the discovery phase. Really, you gotta have to discover first what is it that they're talking about, what is it that they want, and whether there is a sale to be made in the first place at all. Maybe you cannot even help them. Like, you don't know if you can help them, really. Majority of time the salespeople just having, as we mentioned before, commission breath. It's like, I need to get this done, and this is how I'm going to get it.
I need to respond to this client at 8 p.m.
in the modern world.
I need to respond to my client right now.
Yeah.
Hold up, guys. One thing annoying me was I thought it was weird. Be hanging out with somebody and one of them goes, "Yeah, I got to take this call. It's work. It's my client. I got to take it." And my phone rings sometimes before I'd be like, "It's a sales call. It's a client calling. I better take it. I better change my mood." Or now it's more fun. Hey, let's see what kind of black swans, what kind of beans are spilled. It becomes more entertaining. Entertainment. This is what the show's about, entertainment. I just want to be entertained. And I'm becoming my favorite entertainer in sales. Oh, unstable connection.
Yeah.
You're going to bump us off again? No? All right, good. Yeah, right. So, it's got to be fun.
Yeah, I mean,
it's got to be lucrative. It's got to be easy.
It is. It has to be. Otherwise, you're doing something wrong, really. Fun, I mean, fun, everyone interpretation of fun could be different. There's degrees of fun, of course. You're not having fun per se,
Here it is, like
laughing and giggling.
if
It
you
could
wake
be.
up, and you're like, oh, fuck, another day, another dollar. Hey, you're not having fun.
Yeah.
You're not. You're dreading.
No,
You're
no,
dreading
that's
the
called
day.
chronic stress.
You never had that? I've had that. Another day. Who's gonna?
We all had that at some point in our lives. For me, it was school days. I think it was more the most stressful part of my life was in school. There's not much of control you could have there. At least for me, I couldn't have much of a control. But growing up, it taught a lot. Like, okay, once the school finished, like, okay, what kind of control can I have? What's possible for me? And after that, it was like, oh, okay, you try one job, you try another job. Being a young person, that's not for me. That seems promising, but there is this thing going on that's not really helpful. So you're learning a lot about yourself, really. I think the process of discovery, when we're talking about active listening, it really starts inside. There is just no other way around it. You gotta find out what are your strengths are, really. And sometimes you cannot see it, so you have to be kind of blatantly told that multiple times over for you to realize that, okay, there is a pattern there, and it's my fault, right? In a sense. Well, let's put it this way.
In those mocks, I find people are not taking accountability, especially when they can't make a connection with this person. It's like, let me talk to the manager, and it's like, hey, why did you talk to the manager? This person has the ability to give you that. I couldn't connect with them, or I know I can influence the manager. And it's like, dude, this person is in a negotiation practice room with you. Don't you think maybe that's a connection? Like, don't you think maybe you can connect with them and say, hey, have you read any negotiation books lately? I'm waiting for someone to pull that out, and I don't know if it'll happen when, you're in a room full of negotiators, and you're saying you can't find something to connect, can't connect with the person. It's like it's right there, like it's really easy. Sometimes when I do the mocks, I like going against a counterpart I never met, and I'm finding that makes real estate warm calls, cold calls more easy, because I treat it like a mock. It's a stranger in front of me. I'm gonna get to learn about how they were created. What's what do they say? Nature nurture. I want to see what their nature and how they were nurtured. I want to listen for that. And see, I like practicing with, I call them fresh meat, because I don't know anything about them, and that's even better. Because when I know something about them, I know what drives them, so I go straight for that. It's like jiu-jitsu. I know I can get them in this move right here is their weakness. It's like, you ever play Street Fighter? I used to play I kept tripping my guy over and over. And he's like, man, can you do any other move? I'm like, but it's working. Why should I?
Yeah.
Fresh meat. Give me some a new counterpart. It's a lot easier than we make it out to be. You ever, I don't know, maybe you never, but you ever like postpone a dreadful conversation for days with somebody that you needed to have a conversation with, kind of hoping it
I used to, of course,
goes away on its own? Maybe let Jesus take the wheel type of thing.
Yeah. The time will rule it out.
God would judge them. God would even things. And it's like, that's not fun. It's not proactive. That's living on the sidelines. And I mean, look right now, we're in the game right now. We're YouTubers, man. We're going to be big. Like, I'm tired of, opening up YouTube and watching other YouTubers influence and get awesome leads, sell cool merch, do all that stuff. I'm like, well, what's stopping me? Me. It's me.
Yeah.
You are your own biggest obstacle.
Precisely, man. And that's the thing. I mean, that's the negotiation. What's stopping me? You're asking yourself, me, right? And you're finding those aspects of yourself that are like, well, there is some sort of incongruence and there is something that's stopping me. Well, what is it really? And then how do you make connection between those parts of yourself that are stopping you and driving you forward? So how do you become more aligned? Really, that's what it is. Like if you set yourself to do something and you align yourself to, to achieve it, it's not, there is no effort there. It's just happening. You consciously or unconsciously looking out for the things that will help you achieve your goals. And, higher degree of alignments, you don't even think about the goals. It's just happening all around you. Like it's leading you. Oh shit. Yeah. I mean, like a year or two ago, I wouldn't even dream of starting my day by being excited, taking this cold call, right? Or making that cold call, right? Or having that
you have to
difficult
be a
negotiation.
psychopath.
Right. You have to be masochism, right? So much
Who
pain.
likes
I don't
getting
want
rejected?
to
Who
complain.
wants to get rejected all day?
Yeah,
Who does that?
exactly. And so you're rejecting yourself because part of you saying, I gotta make this phone call, I gotta pay for the bills, and the other side of said, oh
don't
shit,
wanna
man,
annoy
I
people.
hate this. I don't want to annoy people. I don't want to be annoyed by annoying people. So it's the same shit, right? It's just in reverse. And that's what you're looking out for. The part of you looking out for, like, am I annoying someone? Am I disturbing someone? Doing cold calls or just following up with the customer. But if you reframe it and stick to the kind of idea of, I'm just curious to see where it's going to lead. Like, what are you going to tell me today? Colombo effect. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm just curious. That's great. How are you doing on time?
I got to jump off soon, maybe in like 10 minutes.
Have you ever done the psychoanalysis cube test?
Nope.
It is the most accurate psychoanalysis out there. Do you want to do it? I done it to probably 200 people.
Sure.
All right.
Like what's that? Before I agree, what's that like? What do you mean by psychoanalysis?
So I'm gonna tell you what your subconscious looks like, behaves like. I'm going to give you some objects to picture, and you're going to put them in this canvas. You're not. They're going to place themselves. And this cat's driving me nuts. Hey, knock it off. I'm going to tell you to visualize an object, place it in there, and I'm going to tell you these objects represent certain things about you, certain elements. It's and I like to make some predictions.
Okay. Well,
don't force the objects.
Test.
Yeah, we want to go off record.
Yeah, that's I don't think it's appropriate.